Governor Pritzker, I'm told that you just have some news from a court that is adjudicated on a possibility of a temporary restraining order.
The TRO has been granted by Judge Perry in Illinois, and she is basically questioning the credibility of DHS and ICE and CBP in all of what they have reported. She has gotten a lot of reports from local and state law enforcement about what's going on, puts credibility in that. Those are our folks here in Illinois. So we're very pleased so far with the ruling, but I promise you before we're done, we'll probably have the end of her oral decision, and I'll be able to give you whatever the in-part piece is.
Trump is still demanding restitution for one of those people who were charged for their role in January 6th, himself. You're really not going to believe this one, and if you haven't encountered it yet, I'll read from the New York Times. Here we go. President Trump is demanding that the Justice Department pay him about $230 million in compensation for the federal investigations into him, according to people familiar with the matter, who added that any settlement might ultimately be approved by senior department officials who defended him or those in his orbit. The situation has no parallel in American history, as Trump, a presidential candidate, was pursued by federal law enforcement and eventually won election, taking over the very government that must now review his claims. Trump was charged with 4 felonies in connection with his attempt to overthrow the government. He used his vast wealth to keep the courts busy, to draw proceedings out so he never faced justice, and then his hand-picked and appointed justices delivered him immunity, and it worked. He walked free, he got elected, and now he wants to be repaid out of the U.S. Treasury, out of our collective money for that. You cannot put a price on vanity, unless, of course, you are King Donald.
The President of the United States of America, Donald Trump, is now demanding that the United States of America pays him $230 million for emotional distress and harm. I can't believe that this video is real. Here's everything that you need to know. Trump is demanding this lump sum from the Justice Department for the harm he suffered, onset by the federal investigations and criminal charges that he has faced in the last 4 years. Now, if this demand is met and he's paid the $230 million, that's going to be paid for by you, the American taxpayer. So what's next? Well, now the Justice Department gets to determine if they want to approve or deny his claim for $230 million. But here's the thing. One of the 2 people that could approve his claim would be Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche. Here's the thing about Todd Blanche. He's one of Donald Trump's lawyers and has been one of Donald Trump's personal attorneys for years, meaning that he is literally, not figuratively, but literally on Trump's payroll. So spread the word, because your tax dollars may very well be going into Donald Trump's personal bank account here pretty soon. That's all for now.
We have some news right now. Not only is Donald Trump building this ballroom and demolishing the East Wing, but he's actually also upgrading the presidential bunker that is currently located within or underneath the East Wing that he is currently demolishing. So according to Jennifer Jacobs, he is upgrading the presidential bunker. The White House Military Office is handling the renovation of the President's Emergency Operations Center. It's also known as the PEOC. Now, if you've seen any of the White House Has Fallen movies, you would know this is where the president is rushed to if there's ever the case of an emergency. It's not often that a president goes down there, but it happens sometimes. And well, it's under the East Wing. It's where Donald Trump is demolishing the White House ballroom right now. And now he's going to make sure these renovations likely will come out of taxpayer dollars, by the way. This isn't going to be personally funded, if I had to guess. So we'll see what happens. Spread the word. Full updates on my Substack, as always, linked in bio. So subscribe for free. Follow along, stay update on all the news that you need to know about. More to come soon.
6:23 p.m. last night until 5 p.m. tonight. For 22 hours and 37 minutes straight, Senator Merkley stood on the Senate floor without sleep, without sitting down, without bathroom breaks, which is a great mystery, all to focus the attention of the American people on the crisis now facing this country. And Senator Merkley's message throughout many hours was crystal clear. He didn't argue that we were at risk of sliding into authoritarianism. He did not say that Trump has authoritarian tendencies. He didn't tiptoe around it, or that we're on the verge of authoritarianism. His message was that we are already there. Authoritarianism is here, and it is here now.
Mr. President, I've come to the Senate floor tonight to ring the alarm bells. We're in the most perilous moment, the biggest threat to our republic since the Civil War. President Trump is shredding our Constitution. The authoritarian takeover is not down the street. It is not around the corner. We are in the middle of it right now.
We are in the middle of it right now. And I think everybody watching, most people watching, everybody feels that. I mean, for anyone out there who thinks that this might still sound alarmist or hyperbolic, Trump has been blowing through the constitutional checks on his power more rapidly with each passing day. The lesson here is that in a moment where it's hard to know exactly what to do, the only answer is to do something, to try anything, to try everything if you can. That's the lesson that compelled Jeff Merkley to hold the floor of the U.S. Senate for 22 hours and 37 minutes.
No, a modest number of people come out to my town halls. It averages about 100 per town hall. In 2024, I had about 3,500 people come in person. This year, I had 15,000 plus. So many people came to say, how the hell is the U.S. Senate letting a president crush our freedom and shred our Constitution? And they would say, we see what you've been saying and doing in protest about so much of what's been happening, but you, Senator Merkley, need to do more. And quite frankly, to my colleagues, that's the reason I'm on the floor tonight, trying to think of one more way I can ring the alarm bells. One more way I can use this office and this opportunity afforded to be a member of the U.S. Senate to say, we cannot let this happen.
So did you see that the president of Colombia is essentially accusing Donald Trump of being a murderer? Doesn't come out and say that exactly, but that is the clear implication of what he's saying. He's talking here about Donald Trump's blowing people up in the Caribbean. Well, it turns out that one of the people who was killed by Donald Trump, illegally killed by Donald Trump, and what is it that we call an illegal killing? Oh yeah, we call that murder. Anyway, and it's illegal because Donald Trump has no legal authority to fire on these boats. He says that they are narco-terrorists smuggling drugs, yet he has offered absolutely no proof of that. Congress has been wanting proof. He has offered none. And even if it's true that they're smuggling drugs, he has no legal authority to just kill them. He has gotten no authority from Congress, and drug smugglers more than 1,000 miles off the coast of the United States are not a clear and present danger to the United States such that he would be allowed under our laws to take military action in defense, in the immediate defense of our country. Hey, he's just murdering people. And one of the people that was murdered in one of these attacks was not a Venezuelan drug smuggler. He was a Colombian fisherman with absolutely no ties, according to the president of Colombia, to drug smuggling. And the president of Colombia is pissed, and he is demanding answers from the Trump administration. Now, he's not going to get any, because we have a lawless, tyrannical piece of shit as president. He doesn't even provide answers to Congress. He's not going to provide answers to the president of Colombia. But if this were a healthy republic, which of course it's not, there would be hearings in Congress already ongoing, and there would be impeachment inquiries. Donald Trump is committing murder in the name of the United States. This man is a war criminal.
They love me. They really love me. I love it. We're in Times Square, folks. We're having a great time at the No Kings rally. They're here for me. They're throwing me a parade. I love a parade. Thank you so much. We love it, folks. We love it. Look at this.
They're on the street! I see the drunken New Yorkers! Hey, why are you doing that? Why are you pushing them? Fucking fascists, get out of our city! Stay on! Hey! Stay on! That's excessive. You know that's excessive. I don't have to tell you that. You're left. That's way too excessive. Why are you They're not impeding. Move back! Move back!
Today, Trump started to tear down the White House. Oh, this is the wrong picture. This is when the White House was burned down in 1814. Sorry, here's the right picture here. This is the scene here today as the destruction of the White House began, where Trump could build a $250 million ballroom that is funded by private donors, which I just call bribes. That's right. And did he ask permission? Absolutely not. Is it probably illegal? Probably so, but when has that stopped him before? The $250 million ballroom will be added to the White House as military families stand in line for food, as SNAP benefits are set to run out next month, as families are struggling across America. This is how we're going to make America great again. He's also building some type of arch, so does this seem like a man who's getting ready to leave the office in a few years? Absolutely not. Just more disgusting behavior from Donald Trump, as he is obviously not concerned about working class Americans at all. He is desecrating the White House. He is doing it with bribes. And what can we do about it? Apparently, absolutely nothing, as it continues to happen under his presidency. And yet we will continue to sound the alarm. Hopefully everyone will wake up and realize this country is in trouble under Donald Trump. Wake up, people. Wake up.
The problem that we are seeing right now is that our current president and his administration is explicitly saying that we want to change the rules of the game midstream in order to insulate ourselves from the people's judgment. They want to change around the maps, not the way it's always been done every 10 years after a census. They want to do it before any election in which they're worried they might lose. They want to tinker around with it to see if they can give themselves an advantage. And it's brazen. They're not pretending that there's some other rationale to it. They're simply doing it because they think they can. And in those circumstances, I could not be more appreciative of the work that Governor Newsom and the people of California are doing in saying, stop. This is not how American democracy is supposed to operate. And that's what Prop 50 is about. And it has critical implications, not just for California, but for the entire country.
Today is day 28 since my election. And I think that it's really important that we appreciate that 812,000 Arizonans do not have representation in Congress. My dad passed away a little over 7 months ago in March. And since that time, the offices were able to provide constituent services. On September 23rd, those services ended. And so I do not have access to provide services in district. I also don't have a budget. So this back and forth, coming back and forth, is on my miles that I had stored up. I'm not able to open a lease in district. They're trying to provide piecemeal solutions to some of the problems that we have. But respectfully, there's so much that cannot be done until I am sworn in. And so every moment that passes that I'm not able to provide constituent services or be a voice for Arizona, I can't bring the issues forward that they sent me here to do. And so while, we're getting a lot of attention for not being sworn in, I'd rather get the attention for doing my job.
We have some pretty big news right now. Indiana Republican senators are defying Donald Trump. They don't have the votes to pass a gerrymandered map to allow Republicans to pick up additional congressional seats And so they're not going to go through with Donald Trump's plan, despite the fact that this week, according to Politico, Trump held a phone call with members who were nervous about supporting this gerrymandering effort. And well, now, according to a spokesperson for the Senate pro tem, they don't have the votes. Now, Donald Trump's allies are still demanding that it comes up for a vote to try to pressure them into redistricting, conducting this mid-decade redistricting cycle in Indiana. This is pretty big news because Indiana Republicans are not united enough to get the votes to pass a gerrymandered map. It does come on the same day that North Carolina Republicans did pass a new map saying, essentially eliminating one Democratic seat, but Indiana is not going to do the same, at least for now. So spread the word. Full updates on my Substack, linked in bio. Subscribe for free. Follow along for all the news you need to know about.
The President of the United States responded to peaceful protesters across this country with a video of himself wearing a crown, driving a fighter jet, and bombing peaceful protesters with human waste. Are you kidding me? No one over there says anything about this? That is shameful. Speaker Johnson said he thinks Trump's being an effective communicator. Really? What on earth is effective about the President of the United States dropping waste on American families and seniors and our cities? It was a vulgar, ugly, and fundamentally unstable display.
Today is day 22 of the government shutdown with literally no end in sight. And today Mike Johnson has had the House adjourned for 79 out of the last 91 days. That means that House Republicans have worked 12 days in 3 months. The Republican politicians who control every branch of government and could end this shutdown if they wanted to with the snap of a finger do not work for the American people. They work for one person and one person only, and his name is Donald Trump. Now there are very real consequences the longer this Republican shutdown continues. First, you have federal assistance, which is being delayed. So food aid, SNAP programs, housing vouchers, and child care subsidies. Those are running out of funds. And then you have the travel disruptions, FAA inspections, and training programs that are now being slowed, leading to flight delays and safety issues. The longer waits for passports, small business loans, and IRS processing. And then the biggie here too, workers are going to miss paychecks. Federal employees go unpaid until the shutdown ends. But do you know who does get paid? Do you? The Congress people, the Republican politicians who are refusing to show up to work, they get paid. These Republicans, they have no shame. They are the biggest mooches in this country. The pull yourself up by your bootstrap party. I mean, what a friggin' joke that is. They don't show up to work. They get paid. They keep Donnie happy and you get screwed. And all of this to prevent a vote on releasing the Epstein files. The House Republican Epstein shutdown continues.
We want to give massive amounts of money, hundreds of billions of dollars to illegal aliens for their health care while Americans are struggling to pay their health care bills. That was their initial foray into this negotiation.
That right there was the Vice President of the United States looking straight into the camera and lying to the American people. Under federal law, undocumented immigrants literally cannot get health care through any of our federally funded health insurance programs. It's the law. So why is he lying like this? I guess that's their only option. They certainly can't tell the truth, which is that they are destroying our nation's healthcare system. Clinics will close, hospitals will close, nursing homes will close, people will lose health care, people will die. That's why Democrats are in Washington right now to fix this Republican manufactured crisis.
So yesterday, 7 million people told Donald Trump and this administration to go fuck themselves, that we don't want them here. And what was Donald Trump's response to that? He posted the most insane AI video of him in a fighter jet that said King Donald on the side. He's inside flying it, wearing a crown, and he's flying around and he's literally dumping feces on the protesters. That's a video the President of the United States posted in response to 7 million people in this country saying, no, we don't want you, we don't want kings. That's the video he posted. He is one of the most disgusting, deplorable, psychotic human beings who have ever existed. And this is the man who is running this country. So one more time to you, political and military leaders, do something, because you will be responsible for the destruction of this country.
I know that just yesterday, the president was once again mocking me from the Oval Office.
I would say Governor Moore call, because I watched him over the weekend trying to explain that
Baltimore, what they need is housing. No, they don't need housing. They need to get rid of the criminals. These are hardcore criminals.
Saying that, oh, the governor was talking about housing. We don't need new housing. And it's so sad because not only as president, he should applaud the fact that we are moving forward fast on building new housing. As a developer, he should know that. But I have to say, what's also sad were some of his other comments yesterday. And so I wanted to speak directly to those two. For all Marylanders, I want you to know that there is nothing that I would not do to keep you safe. To all Marylanders, I want you to know that we have met this moment of crisis with courage, because I am very clear that under my predecessor, we had a violence crisis. That in the year before I became the governor, in 2022, that Baltimore City, for example, was averaging about a homicide a day. And that we said we were going to move differently. We're going to actually work together with our local jurisdictions. We're going to invest in local law enforcement. We're going to invest in technologies, predictive analytics. We're going to invest in our communities, in things like housing. And I can tell you right now that just 2.5 years in, nearly every single crime category, from homicides to non-fatal shootings to auto theft, is down at least 25% year on year. And we won't stop until we make sure that everyone feels safe in their neighborhoods and their communities.
President, you talked about that 250th anniversary. That's what this is about. The best of Roman Republic, Greek democracy, popular sovereignty, this notion of a system of checks and balances, the rule of law, not the rule of dawn. And so I hope it's dawning on everybody how precious this moment is, and how, again, in the spirit of Adam, how we can all meet this moment on November 4th. Mr. President, thank you for being here, and everybody, thank you for tuning in today.
Thank you, guys. Proud of you. Keep it up.
Democratic Senator Jeff Merkley of Oregon just wrapped a 22-hour, 37-minute floor speech to protest Donald Trump's authoritarian power grab.
The longer you are in an authoritarian state, it becomes more and more entrenched. And so we have to fight it in every possible way. I'm proud to be colleagues with all of you in this effort. Thank you very much, and I yield the floor.
Merkley's remarks, the fourth longest in Senate history, were aimed at a weary nation. On day 22 of the government shutdown, where vulnerable Americans are lining up at food banks, seniors are in the dark about their Social Security benefits.
We have some news right now. Donald Trump just posted that by voting for a Republican candidate in New Jersey or Virginia in the upcoming elections, it'll reduce electricity and energy costs. But if you vote for a Democratic candidate, it'll raise energy costs. But according to experts and reporting, Donald Trump's policies have actually directly contributed to the rise in energy costs in many states across the country. For example, since taking office, Donald Trump has actually killed a number of investments in clean energy and at the same time handed millions or billions of dollars in new subsidies to big oil. And it's not surprising because cutting clean energy and giving money to the fossil fuel industry is kind of backwards. Clean energy is often the cheapest form of energy, whereas fossil fuels are more expensive and slow. And according to most recent data, energy costs have actually increased by 10% since Donald Trump took office, approximately. It's pretty interesting that he's making this race or the upcoming elections about energy and electricity cost. I mean, I know it personally. I feel how my electricity bill is going up. I get it. But ultimately, the facts don't actually back up his narrative. And as a reporter, I would never tell you who to vote for, but I would call out misinformation. And what the president is putting out on his Truth Social is actually misinformation. Because his policies, according to all experts, have actually raised energy costs. And the Republicans that he is supporting in this race have generally supported him and would support his policies. And with the elections coming up in Virginia and New Jersey, and really across the country, make sure to spread the word to your friends, families, loved ones, those who could be living in those states or in those districts. And I'll have more to update you soon, so follow along for more. And yeah, please keep spreading the word.
All right, Trumpers, come and get me. Hey, listen, I want to talk to you a little bit about how shitty Donald Trump is and how shitty this administration is. And I really want to emphasize how bad Donald Trump doesn't give a shit about you or America, because here's the thing. Donald Trump's kids don't even want to have nothing to do with him. Donald Trump's kids ain't up on stage with him anymore. If you go back and watch some of the clips in 2016, 2017, 2018, you'll see Donald Trump's kids up there on stage with him all the time. Ivanka don't want to have nothing to do with him. Hell, she even went against her dad in a deposition. The only reason Donald Trump went after the president was to keep him out of prison, to keep his kids out of prison for their indictment that's getting ready to come down, for all the fraudulent stuff their business has done. Donald Trump used you guys to get into the presidency. That's all he did. He lied to you. And it's so sad every time I see these big trucks, these big MAGA bitches walking around here with their trucks and their stickers and their flags. And I'm like, you're so incompetent that you got played by this man. Like, how can you even say that you're a smart human when you got played like a fiddle by him? He convinced you by lying to you that he was going to make this America great again. Tell me how America is great again when food is up, housing up, rent's up, mortgages up. The vehicles, the average cost of a vehicle is $50,000 now, just came out. So tell me how America is great and how America is thriving. Tell me and explain to me on that. You can't. You can't. It's not a good America right now. There's nothing great about this place right now. This place is so fucking expensive to live that people making minimum wage are struggling. And then he wants to cut the programs out that those people use to help try to get ahead because they're not making any damn money. And you think you did something by voting for him. What a bunch of fools.
The Justice Department, are you asking them to pay you compensation for the federal investigations that happened to you? And how much are you asking
well,
for?
I guess they probably owe me a lot of money for that. Probably, yeah, that's true. That's very interesting. I don't know what the numbers are. I don't even talk to them about it. All I know is that they would owe me a lot of money, but I'm not looking for money. I'd give it to charity. Now, with the country, it's interesting because I'm the one that makes the decision, right? And, that decision would have to go across my desk. And it's awfully strange to make a decision where I'm paying myself. In other words, did you ever have one of those cases where you have to decide how much you're paying yourself in damages? But I was damaged very greatly, and any money that I would get, I would give to charity.
Politically, Jonathan Martin, this is very loud noise. I almost feel like it's a massive, and effective on the part of the president distraction. Because can Republicans do anything about this?
And one theme here is, again, Donald Trump's version of the power of the president. Mm-hmm. I control the Justice Department. Yep. My appointees decide whether I get paid this money. And it's extraordinary. Just no president has dared do anything like this since Watergate.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, the politics of it are pretty clear cut to me. If you're a Democrat, you say, President Trump, once again, is using the power of his office to enrich himself and his family instead of looking out for you, the voter. It's hard to get more clear cut than cash money from the Department of Justice being given to the president by his own appointees and Trump himself approving it. I think it's kind of a political gift. Trump, it was fascinating watching that clip, guys, because he did say, of course, I'd give it to charity. He probably understands the politics of this. His brain sort of sees around that corner. But boy, I just think if you're a Republican, you really hope Trump doesn't go through with this. And if he does, he's got to give it to charity. Otherwise, it's such a political gift for Democrats going to the midterms, I think.
You will be seeing on my Patriot site new knee pads that I'll be sending out, the new signature series knee pads for all these CEOs, for the University of Virginia that I'll add to the list today, for bending their knee, for those law firms, the universities, media companies, as this guy's rolling back, rewriting history, putting us back to a pre-1960s world, censoring historic facts. Wake up, everybody.
According to the New York Times, President Trump has today demanded the U.S. Department of Justice pay him $230 million of your money. This is just the latest in a whole series of outrages. When American soybean farmers can't sell their soybeans to China, he gives $40 billion to Argentina so they can. He's just spent $170 million on state-of-the-art private jets for his Secretary of Homeland Security. And he's spending hundreds of millions of dollars on a new ballroom for the White House. He can't find the money to help reduce the health care costs of millions of Americans, but he's demanding a $230 million payout of your money. This is outrageous.
So Donald Trump is now feuding with America's cattle ranchers, telling them that they should be thankful for him, that they are not being grateful enough, after the cattle ranchers expressed frustration that Donald Trump is importing Argentine beef in order to deal with high beef prices. So here you see a tweet where Trump attacks the U.S. cattle ranchers for their high prices and suggests that they do not understand their own industry. He says that he understands their industry much better than they do. He writes, the cattle ranchers, who I love, don't understand that the only reason they are doing so well for the first time in decades is because I put tariffs on cattle coming into the United States, including a 50% tariff on Brazil. If it weren't for me, they would be doing just as they've done for the past 20 years. Terrible. It would be nice if they would understand that, but they also have to get their prices down because the consumer is a very big factor in my thinking also. And Trump was not done there. He then wrote, in addition to everything else, tariffs on other countries saved our cattle ranchers. It's just the complete opposite of the truth. It's just a complete and total lie. These tariffs are absolutely devastating our cattle ranchers, and they are feeling the effects. And importing Argentine beef is just yet another bailout for Argentina. It's nothing to do with America First and actually really hurts our farmers. Yesterday, Merriweather Farms wrote this whole long post. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but they said, we love and support you, but your suggestion to buy beef from Argentina to stabilize beef prices would be an absolute betrayal to the American cattle rancher. It's time to learn who this man is, Merriweather Farms. We understand that there are larger economic and geopolitical dynamics at play, including countering CCP influence in countries in our hemisphere. Argentina sells soybeans to the CCP. Donald Trump is helping the CCP by doing this. And maybe the craziest part about all this is Trump's plan doesn't even make any sense. Not only do the ranchers oppose Trump's Argentina beef imports, but exports say that it will not even lower prices at all. So here we go again, another Trump term. The farmers get screwed over again, and Trump says that they should say thank you. We'll keep covering all the news. Remember to follow along and listen to the Midas Touch podcast for more.
Trump believes that if you don't vote for him, he doesn't have to be your leader. That if you didn't vote for him, that you don't deserve good things to happen to you. I don't care if someone voted for me or not. I don't care if someone is a Republican or an independent or a Democrat. I don't care if someone likes me or not. That will never change the fact that I'm going to fight for them to have health care. I want MAGA to have health care. I want MAGA to be paid a living wage. But he doesn't want people who are Democrats, or he doesn't want people based on their political affiliation to benefit. And that is the difference between a strongman and an authoritarian and a leader of a democracy.
This is right out of the dictator's handbook. Donald Trump does this over and over again. He says he's going to send in the National Guard to address uncontrollable crime rates, which are fictitious. But first, he needs to create conditions for anxiety. He needs to create the conditions that he can, quote unquote, then solve for. So what does he do? He sends out masked men. He sends out Border Patrol. He sends out ICE, creates anxiety and fear in the community so that he can lay claim to solving for that by sending in the Guard in the first place. This is no different than the arsonist putting out the fire. We need to call that out, and we cannot play his game.
Here in America, we're living in a moment of extreme political violence, and that impacts every single person in public service and the people that we are all working hard to represent. But we will not be intimidated. We will continue to show up and stand up and speak up for the American people, to improve their quality of life, to address the extremism that is being unleashed on everyday Americans by this administration all across the country. We will not bend, we will not break, we will never bow down. And when it comes to these extremists out there, you better watch how you talk when you talk about me. Next question.
We're going to be fierce in terms of our response. We're going to be focused, and quite literally, this is the lawsuit that I will file within a nanosecond of any efforts to send the military to one of America's great cities, San Francisco, that is enjoying 60% reduction in homicide, or rather homicide reduction that's the lowest it's been in 60 years. It's one of the safest large cities in this country that's experienced an economic rebirth and growth. Only Donald Trump can wreck that. And we will push back with clarity and conviction, and we'll continue to win in court.
Hundreds of ideas. Guys, we got to get the government open and turn the lights on so we can get everybody back into the regular session.
Stop covering up for the pedophiles.
That's ridiculous.
Nobody's covering up for pedophiles.
You know, she knows.
You're
that
absolutely
she is
absurd.
Okay, I'm going to get back to work. These gentlemen had a publicity stunt here. You see the issue. They need to go and vote to reopen the government.
Get your people back.
Oh, you mean the bill that I'm signed on to extend it? Oh, yeah. Right. Because you know what? We actually have put forth legislation to do it. You guys just keep pontificating. How about you go down the floor and go vote to open the government? That would be great.
All right.
Here's the clean CR. Go vote to open the government. Thank you very much.
We're going to have lots of... Wait a minute.
If you bring them back, we will have a discussion. It's very simple.
You're holding the American people hostage because you want to have a policy debate. We have policy debates here every day. The House works on that.
There's no policy debate when nobody's there. You're talking to yourself and this guy here.
We're having the debate all around the clock.
I imagine yours are going to be hurt even worse than ours. With these premium interests.
We have a lot of issues to work on together, and the Republicans are the party. Wait a minute.
The party that's going to kill healthcare.
I did a live debate with Republican influencers yesterday, and one of them, Jack Posobiec, one of the worst, would not condemn those Republicans who were recently exposed for loving the Germans in World War II, no matter how many times we asked him. Just take a look. It's pathetic.
Hey, look, don't talk over each other. Jack, I don't think it is difficult for you to just say that what those young Republicans were saying in these messages that was exposed was wrong and should be condemned. Why is that difficult?
No, I don't think it's difficult at all. But what I do think is very obvious here that was timed by Politico. Politico, by the way, which refused to. Harry, let me talk.
Won't do it. But if they were young people on the left who were exposed to saying this stuff,
come out the same day as Charlie Kirk's presidential nomination.
And that's the point. And that's exactly right, Piers. He condemns people on the left who joke about other things he doesn't like, but when it comes to pledging allegiance to Hitler, he won't condemn it. Jack, let me ask you a...
Yeah, those Republicans in that group chat got exposed for saying they love the Germans from World War II. They want to retrofit gas chambers to make them similar to what they were in World War II. And he can't condemn that. And my only assumption is if he can't condemn it, maybe he agrees. Because it's so easy to condemn. It's so easy to say, man, that's bad. That's wrong. They shouldn't have said that. I think that's bad. But he wouldn't, no matter how many times we ask. I'm telling you, these MAGA influencers are crazy. I'm not just saying that because I'm on the left. I'm saying that because they are so far right, you wouldn't believe it.
If you don't have any art, you're pretty much lost.
Kan noen være så snill å slå av internett?